Hello, welcome to 5 Minutes Creations live online beginners crochet lesson 4 for Monday to Tuesday group. This is Fahmina from 5 Minutes Creation. I'm welcoming all of you to join my live online classes for beginners crochet. We're just going to wait for all the group members to join us shortly, and in 5 past 6 we are going to start our class. Is full. This can be a bit lengthy, but because it's an online crochet class and speaking with my students live, so it's understandable that it can be a bit lengthy. I'm just waiting for all the group members to join. Few of them has joined already. I just want to make sure that everybody is, then we can start our lesson. All of you who has joined, please let section about your presence. Just waiting for all the group members to join. Then we can start. Sister Tanjina has just joined. Salam, Sister Tanjina, how are you? Can you all hear me properly? Please let me know in the comment section. Just type in if you are finding it a bit difficult to hear me. Sister Tanjina, good to hear that you are well. So today we are going to crochet this cluster stitch pouch, mobile phone pouch. So it's a fun stitch and I'm hoping you will all enjoy making with me. I'm just waiting for the rest of the team member to join so that we can start our class, inshallah. Which crochet hook should I have? Sister Tanjina, you can have crochet hook size 5. This is the hook size we use most of the time. And DK yarn, double knitted yarn. Walaikum Assalam, Brother Rubel. Thank you for joining my live online class. This is Fahmina, your host, and Hanif Jeffrey, my husband. He told me about you. Thank you for joining. Sister Jannat has joined. Thank you, Sister Jannat. Thank you for joining me. We're just waiting for a few other group members, and let's just wait for 1 or 2 minutes, and then we can start. Sister Rehana, salam. Thank you for joining me. Now the class hasn't started yet. We're just waiting for a few group members to join. Then we can start our class, inshallah. Sister Adina has joined. Salam alaikum assalam, sister. Thank you for joining me. I think it's 5 past already, so we can start our class. And if someone has joined me later, then can just wait for them. So let's start then. For this project, we are going to need crochet hook. Sister Farhana just joined. Salam, ladies. Walaikum assalam, Sister Farhana. Thank you for joining me. We are just about to start our today's lesson. Thank you all for joining me. So I hope all of you have your crochet hook, your scissor, and DK yarn in front of you. Doesn't matter what color is it, you can choose any color of your choice. Yes, this is what we are going to make today, a mobile phone pouch. With a long belt that you can wear over your shoulder, around your shoulder. Okay, so let's start. Don't want to waste too much time. Are you all ready? Please let me know in the comment section if you have all got your crochet hook and yarn in front of you so that I can begin. Please let me know if you find it difficult to hear me properly or any network issues. Just let me know immediately, okay? Sister Farhana has got everything ready. Good job, Sister Farhana. I loved your crochet project yesterday where you were really good at picking up the granny square pattern that we were trying to make yesterday. But I'm just still waiting for your finished project, picture of your finished project. Yes, so I know everybody is very busy, but if you can make some time to send me the picture, I'll be very delighted. Okay. So, Sister Tanjina, have you got your crochet hook and everything in front of you? Yeah, I think it is, and the rest of you as well. So let's start our crochet lesson then. So we'll start by doing a slip knot. Like any other crochet project, we'll start by crocheting slip knot and then chain spaces, right? Yes, I have everything. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Brother Rubel, for supporting me, and thank you, Sister Tantina, for letting me know. Okay, let's start then. So first we'll start our project by doing a slip knot. To create a slip knot, we'll put the short end of our yarn strand in the right hand side, now right hand side, and with the left hand side we're just going to put a bit of pressure in the long strand. We're just going to put our hand like this, our palm like this, and with the help of our right hand we are going to wrap the yarn around our left hand index finger twice. So this is the first loop and this is the second loop. So I have wrapped the yarn around our crochet, around our index finger twice. Okay, so I'm just holding the short end with my middle and middle and ring finger, left hand middle and ring finger like this. Okay, and I'm still having the pressure, still putting the pressure over the other side of my yarn strand, right? Now this is my back loop, this is my front loop. Okay, so I'm just going to put the back loop to the in front of the front loop. Okay, so now this is the back loop, this is the front loop, right? So now again one more time I'm just going to put my back loop to in front of the front loop, right? Now this is the back loop. I just have to pull this back loop up and all the way out of my index finger at the same time. Okay, just keep pulling it, and while you are pulling the back loop with your right hand, also pull both strands of your yarn with your left hand like this. Okay, and that's it, your slip knot is ready. This is how it should look like, and you should be able to make it smaller and bigger according to your need, only just by pulling the long strand of your yarn. Okay, so now I'm just going to put my crochet hook. I'm using a crochet hook size 5 for this project. I'm just going to put my crochet hook through that slip knot and going to adjust the slip knot so that it be almost equal the size of my crochet hook. Okay, yeah, Sister Hafsa has just joined me. Thank you, Sister Hafsa. Thank you for joining me. We've just started our crochet lesson and I've just created a slip knot. Now I'm going to do some chains, create some chain spaces. And for this project, I'm going to create 18 chain spaces. Okay, so everybody start doing your chain spaces. To create a chain space, I'm going to wrap the yarn around my crochet hook like this and pull through. So that's my first chain space. Now wrap the yarn around my crochet hook again and pull through. So that's my second chain space. Wrap the yarn around my crochet hook, third chain space. So just carry on and make 18 chain space just like this. Okay, just repeat the process. Wrap the yarn around your crochet hook and pull through. Okay, that's my fourth, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. So I've done 18 chain spaces. Now I'm just going to wait for all of you to see if you have all managed to crochet 18 chain spaces. And once you have all done that, then I'll start doing my row 1. The row 1, I'm going to show you this crochet technique, this cluster stitch technique, and we'll try make a mobile phone pouch with this stitch. Sister Tanjina has finished doing her chain spaces. What about Sister Farhana? Sister Asha has done that. Well done. Sister Jannat has done that. Okay, thank you. Who else has done that? Okay, Sister Rahana and Adiyah has also done that. I think most of you have done that by now. Yes. So now we can go ahead, and Sister Hannah just responded. Well done, all of you. So just going to start doing row 1. So to start our row 1, if you were present in our first lesson, then you would remember we always start our new row with 10 spaces. Okay, thank you, Sister Tahmina. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam. Apu, thank you for joining me, and thank you for your support. Okay, so I will start row 1 now, and I'll start by crocheting 3 chain spaces again, but just keep a mark, put a mark in your 18th chain, the number 18 chain. Just put your thumb finger there so that you remember where you started your new row from. Okay, so we'll move to row 1 now. This is our base. Slip knot and chain spaces are our base, and now we are starting row 1, and we are starting by crocheting 3 chain spaces, because this cluster stitch is almost as equal the size of 3 chain spaces. Okay, and to go up to any row, we always need to we always need to start by doing chain spaces. Okay, so now this was my 18th chain. I'm putting a mark in there, and I'm going to crochet 3 more chain spaces. So that's my first chain space, this is my second chain space, and this is my third chain space. Okay, and this is the starting of row 1. So after crocheting 3 chain spaces, do you remember I put a mark in there in the 18th chain, which is, if we count from our crochet hook, this is the 4th chain from our crochet hook. 1 2 3, this is the 3 chain space that we created, and in the 4th chain we are going to start doing our cluster stitch. Okay, are you all ready to start? Have you all finished doing your 3 chain spaces? I'm just waiting for your response. Please let me know if you have finished doing your chain spaces. Okay, Sister Hannah has done that. Well done, sister. Okay, Sister Dina Jannat. Most of you have already done that, yes? What about Sister Farhana and Tanjina? Okay, Sister Farhana has done that too. Alright, I'm sure Sister Tanjina has also done that. I know it can be a bit hard. Yes, Sister Tanjina just responded. It can be a bit hard to focus on your work and then typing the chat box at the same time. But I just want to make sure that all of us are in the same boat. We are all picking up while I explain it to you. So I don't want to miss anybody. I don't want anybody to feel like left behind or something. Okay. Sister Ani has just joined me. Salam. I'm good, Sister Ani. Ani from Anis Easy Cooking. Thank you for joining me. I hope you will enjoy this crochet lesson. We are trying to make this cluster stitch today, and we are also going to use this stitch to make this mobile phone pouch. All right then. So for rest of you, after crocheting 3 chain spaces, go to the 4th chain from your crochet hook. So this is my first chain, second, third, and this is the 4th chain from my crochet hook. Okay. So I'm going to go there and start doing my cluster stitch. And to start my cluster stitch, I'm going to wrap my yarn around my crochet hook once. Okay. Now I'm going to go to 4th chain from the crochet hook and going to put my crochet hook through that chain. Okay. Now I'm going to wrap the yarn around my crochet hook again and pull up this loop through the chain space and all the way to the crochet hook. So that's 3 loops in my crochet hook, right? Now I'm just going to wrap the yarn around again and pull through only the first 2. There's 3 loops in my crochet hook, but I'm only going to pull the loop through the first 2. This is 1 and this is the number 2 loop. Okay, so I'm just going to pull it through first 2 loops. But I'm not going to finish my stitch right away because I have to uh, repeat these steps couple more time. Okay, so now there's 2 loops in my crochet hook. Okay, if it were a double crochet, I would have just wrapped the yarn around and pull it through both these strands. Yeah, both the loops. But this is not a double crochet stitch. This is a cluster stitch. By the name of it, I think you can guess that this is going to be a cluster of stitches. Okay, so this was my first cluster. Now I'm going to wrap the yarn around my crochet hook again and go to the same chain space. Okay, the same chain space where I went before. So I'm putting my crochet hook through that chain space, wrapping the yarn around the crochet hook and pull up a loop. So there's 4 loops in my crochet hook now. Okay, wrapping the yarn around and pull through only first 2 loops. Now there's 3 loops in my crochet hook. Now just have to repeat these steps for a few more times until I have 5 loops in my crochet hook. So wrap the yarn around the crochet hook. Okay, go to the same chain space, wrap the yarn around and pull up this loop through the chain space. Okay, now wrap the yarn around the crochet hook again and pull through only first 2 loops. Now I've got 4 loops in my crochet hook, right? So I'm just wrapping the yarn around my crochet hook again, go to the same chain space, wrap the yarn around and pull it through, pull the loop through the chain space, wrap the yarn around and pull through only first 2 loops. So now how many loops have I got in my crochet hook? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's exactly how much I needed to have in my crochet hook. Now I can finish up this stitch by wrapping the yarn around the crochet hook and by pulling it through all the loops, all the 5 loops. Okay, and then chain 1, wrap the yarn around and pull through. This is my chain 1 space. So this is your first cluster and this is how it should look like. Okay, so now I think you all realize why it's called a cluster stitch, because it looks like clusters of stitches, yes, because we've done a cluster here. So that's my first cluster stitch done. I'm going to repeat it. I'm going to repeat it throughout this chain, all the chain spaces, and I'm going to repeat it for the rest of the project. So have you all got it? If not, don't worry, because I'm going to show you repeat these steps a lot more time. But if you have got any specific question for me, please ask away. Okay, please let me know if you have got any specific question for me about this cluster stitch. Okay, so I'm just going to show you few more times all these steps. I know you won't get it at first stitch, but as I'm going to show you a few more times, you will learn it quickly. Okay, so now I need to do my second cluster. Okay, to crochet my second cluster, I'm going to skip chain one, the very next chain from the chain where I did my first cluster. Okay, I'm going to skip this chain and start my crochet next cluster from the chain that we have next to this chain. Okay, skipping this chain, starting my cluster from the next chain. Okay, so to start my cluster, I'm wrapping my yarn around my crochet hook once. Okay, and then go to the chain space, skip one, go to the next one, right? So put your crochet hook through that chain space, wrap the yarn around the crochet hook and pull up a loop. So that's 3 loops in my crochet hook, right? Wrap the yarn around and pull through only first 2. The last one will still be there. Okay, so 2 crochet hook, 2 loops in my crochet hook. Wrap the yarn around the crochet hook, go to the same chain space, wrap the yarn around and pull up a loop. Okay, pull through. Now wrap the yarn around, pull through only first 2. That means I've got 3 loops in my crochet hook. Wrap the yarn around the crochet hook again, go to the same chain space, wrap the yarn around and pull up a loop, wrap the yarn around and pull through. So that means there's 4 loops in my crochet hook. I just have to repeat this cluster stitches for one more time. Wrap the yarn around the crochet hook, go to the same chain space, wrap the yarn around and pull up a loop. Wrap the yarn around again and pull through only first 2. So there's 5 loops in my crochet hook. Now I'm going to wrap the yarn around the crochet hook again and pull through all 5 loops. And to finish off, I'm going to chain 1, wrap the yarn around and pull through. That's my chain 1. Okay, so this is my second cluster. As we have crocheted 18 chain spaces and we are skipping 1 chain space after every cluster, that means we have to crochet 9 cluster stitch here. Okay, so this was my second cluster stitches. And have you all got any question so far? You know what I have explained to you. Have you got any question for me? Please let me know in the comment section, so I know I can understand. I can if you are with me, if you are understanding my way of teaching, or if you have got any question, okay, please don't keep it to yourself. Please let me know in the comment section so that I can answer your queries. I'm just going to go ahead and crochet my third cluster stitch. Okay, so to create my third cluster stitch, the first chain from the cluster stitch, I'm going to skip this one. Okay, and from the next one I'm going to start doing my cluster stitch. To start my cluster stitch, I'm wrapping the yarn around the crochet hook, go to this chain space, wrap the yarn around the crochet hook again and pull through. Okay, wrap the yarn around and pull through only first 2. So I've got 2 loops in my crochet hook. Now I'm just going to repeat these steps for a few more times. Wrap the yarn around the crochet hook, go to the same chain space, wrap the yarn around and pull up a loop, wrap the yarn around and pull through only first 2. That means I've got 3 loops in my crochet hook. Now wrap the yarn around the crochet hook again, go to the same chain space, wrap the yarn around and pull up a loop. Wrap the yarn around, pull through only first 2 loops. That means I've got 4 loops in my crochet hook. Now I'm going to repeat these steps one more time. Wrap the yarn around the crochet hook, go to the same chain space, wrap the yarn around and pull up a loop, wrap the yarn around again and pull through only first 2 loops. Now I've got 5 loops in my crochet hook. That means it's time to finish off this cluster, right? So I'm wrapping the yarn around the crochet hook and pull it through all the way through all 5 loops and chain 1, wrap the yarn around and pull through. That's my chain 1 space to finish off the cluster. That's my third cluster of this row 1. So have you all got it? Sister Tanjina and Sister Farhana, I'm not hearing anything from you too. Please let me know how are you getting on. Did you manage to crochet this cluster stitch? If you have got any question about it, please let me know. Okay, just going to wait for your answer. Sister Dila has got it. Sister Rehana, okay, Sister Farhana has got it. Sister Jannat has got it. Hafsa, most of you have got it. Sister Hina has got it. Okay, Sister Hannah has got it as well. What about Sister Tanjina? Are you okay? How are you getting on? If you find anything difficulty, please let me know which part of the steps you are not understanding, which part of the cluster stitch you are not understanding. Then I am going to explain it again. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and crochet the cluster stitch again. So to start my next cluster, this is going to be my 4th cluster of this row. I have to skip 1 chain and from the next chain I have to start the cluster. Okay, to start my cluster you have to wrap the yarn around the crochet hook just once and go to the chain space, wrap the yarn around the crochet hook again and pull up a loop. Okay, wrap the yarn around the crochet hook again and pull through just 2 loops. I have still got 2 loops left, okay, in my crochet hook. And now I have to repeat these steps again. Wrap the yarn around the crochet hook, go to the same chain space, okay, wrap the yarn around again and pull through. Wrap the yarn around again and pull through only first 2 loops. So I've got 3 loops in my crochet hook. Wrap the yarn around the crochet hook again, go to the same chain space, wrap the yarn around and pull up a loop, wrap the yarn around and pull through only first 2 loops. I've got 4 loops in my crochet hook and I said that I have to have 5 loops in my crochet hook. Then I will know that it's time to finish off my stitch, cluster stitch. Okay, that means it's not time yet. There's only 4 loops. Wrap the yarn around the crochet hook, go to the same chain space once more time, wrap the yarn around, pull up a loop, wrap the yarn around, pull through first 2. Okay, now I've got 5 loops in my crochet hook. 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, that means it's time to finish this cluster stitch. Okay, so wrap the yarn around and pull through all 5 loops and then chain 1 to finish off. That's my 4th cluster. Okay, I've got a response from Sister Tanjina. She's saying I have done one. I've done 1 cluster. Okay, that's good, Sister Tanjina. That means you have got the uh, you learned how to do these steps, how to do the cluster stitch, and you have finished doing 1 cluster. So just go ahead and crochet 9 cluster for this row. Okay, total 9 clusters we have to do for this row. So I'm just going to move to the next cluster. So I've got 4 clusters so far. Next cluster I have to skip this next chain, and the one next to this I have to crochet my cluster stitch there. Okay, so I'm wrapping the yarn around the crochet hook, go to this chain space, and then wrap the yarn around again and pull up a loop. So I've got 3 loops in my crochet hook. Wrap the yarn around and pull through only first 2 loops. I'm not going to finish my clusters just yet. I have to repeat these steps for a couple more times, yes, until I have 5 loops in my crochet hook. So I'm going to wrap the yarn around the crochet hook, go to this in chain space, okay, wrap the yarn around and pull up a loop. Wrap the yarn around and pull through only first 2 loops. Now I've got 3 loops in my crochet hook. Wrap the yarn around, go to the same chain space, pull up a loop, wrap the yarn around, pull through first 2. Now I've got 4 loops in my crochet hook. So that means I have to do these steps for one last time. Wrap the yarn around, go to the same chain space, pull up a loop, wrap the yarn around and pull it through. So I've got 5 loops in my crochet hook now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means it's time to finish off this crochet cluster stitch. Yeah. So wrap the yarn around and pull it through all 5 loops and chain 1 to finish off. That's my 5th cluster. Okay. So now I'm just going to go ahead and crochet 4 more clusters. This one was 5th, yes. Now I have to do 4 more cluster stitch to finish off row 1. So just go ahead and do the same. Crochet a total of 9 clusters in this row 1, and I'll meet you at the end. Okay. That was my 6th cluster. Okay. Just going to go ahead and start crocheting my cluster no 7. Skip first chain space, go to the next chain space and start your cluster. That was my 6th cluster, sorry, 7th cluster. Now just have to repeat these steps and crochet 2 more clusters before I finish this row. Okay, so this is the chain next to my previous clusters. I'm going to skip this, and in the next chain I'm going to crochet my cluster again. Let me just count how many clusters I've done so far. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, I've done 8 clusters so far. Now I just have to do my last cluster of this row. So I'm going to skip this chain, and in this last chain I'm going to crochet my cluster. So I've wrapped the yarn around. Now I'm going to go to that chain space, put my crochet hook through the chain space, wrap the yarn around and pull up a loop. Wrap the yarn around and pull through only first 2 loops. Wrap the yarn around and go to the same chain space, wrap the yarn around and pull up a loop. Wrap the yarn around and pull through only first 2 again. 3 loops in my crochet hook. Wrap the yarn around, go to the same chain space, pull up a loop, wrap the yarn around and pull through only first 2. There's 4 loops in my crochet hook. Wrap the yarn around, go to the same chain space, pull up a loop, wrap the yarn around and pull through first 2 loops only. So there's 5 loops in my crochet hook. Wrap the yarn around and pull through all 5 loops. Oh no, this is my second time. And anyway, so I pulled the loop through all 5 loops. Now I'm going to chain 1 to finish off my cluster. So this is how it should look like by the end of row 1. Now I'm just going to wait for all of you to see if you have all managed to finish off row 1, so that we can move to row 2. Just write me in the comment section if you have finished, when you finish your row 1, you finish doing 9 clusters for row 1 and you are ready to move to row 2. Okay, I'm just going to wait for all of you, and I'm just going to get some water. Okay, I can see Sister Hafsa, Asha, and Rehana, Shahina. You have done that. Sister Farhana has done that. Well done, all of you. Sister Jannat has done that. Cool. So most of you have done that. Sister Rehana has done that too. Sharif Jahan Babu. Assalamu alaikum. Alaikum assalam, Brother Sharif. Thank you for joining me. This is my crochet lesson going making a mobile phone pouch using this cluster stitch. So thank you for joining us, and I hope you will enjoy making this mobile phone pouch with me. So I think most of you have done that already. Most of you have finished doing the cluster stitch. Can you all hear me? Please let me know if you find any difficulty hearing me. Let me know in the comment section so that I be aware, because sometimes it can so happen that I don't realize that you are not listening, but I realize it later when you write it in the comment section. Yes. All right then. So it's time to start row 2 now. Okay. We are good, Brother Sharif. Thank you. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for supporting me. Okay. So now we are just going to go ahead and start doing row 2. Okay. To start our row 2, we are going to turn our work around. Okay. Now I'm going to start my row with 3 chain spaces, okay, like we always do. Okay, Sister Tanjina has almost done that. Well done, Sister Tanjina. Thank you for letting me know, but you can carry on. Okay, no worries, Sister Tanjina. Yes, I'm going to go slow so you can catch up. Yes, so I'm going to start row 2 by crocheting 3 chain spaces. I have turned my work around and now I'm going to crochet 3 chain spaces. So this is my first chain space. Wrap the yarn around and pull through. That's 1 chain space. Wrap the yarn around again and pull it through. So that's the second chain space. Wrap the yarn around and pull through. So that's third chain spaces. Yes. Now, if we can all see, the chain 1 space that we have done in our first row, it has created a little space here. Can you all see it? A little space after every cluster stitch. This is the chain 1 space that we created in our first row. So now we have to do all our crochet cluster stitch in these tiny spaces. Okay, so after crocheting 3 chain space, I am going to move to the next tiny space. Yes, you can't miss it, it's very visible and can't really miss this space, tiny space. It is everywhere right after the cluster stitch. Okay, but in case you can't see it, just let me know in the comment section and I'll explain where to find it again. So just have to go to this here, this tiny little space here after every cluster, and there we have to do our cluster stitch. We have to crochet our cluster stitch there. Okay, and in this row we are not going to skip any chains like we have done in first row. We are not going to skip any chain in this row. We just have to uh, uh, go ahead and crochet 9 cluster stitches, okay, one after another without skipping any chains. So just going to start my first cluster here in this tiny little space here. So I'm going to wrap the yarn around the crochet hook once, go to that space, put my crochet hook through this space, wrap the yarn around and pull up a loop, wrap the yarn around and pull through fast 2 only. So I've got 2 loops in my crochet hook. Okay, I'm just going to repeat these steps for a few more times. So wrap the yarn around, go to that space again and wrap the yarn around and pull up a loop, wrap the yarn around and pull through only fast 2. So I've got 3 loops in my crochet hook. I'm just going to do the same again. Wrap the yarn around, go to the same chain space, wrap the yarn around and pull up a loop, wrap the yarn around and pull through only fast 2 loops. So I've got 4 loops in my crochet hook, and I know that I have to have 5 loops in my crochet hook to finish off the cluster stitch. Okay, so that means I have to repeat these steps one more time. So wrap the yarn around, go to the same chain space, wrap the yarn around and pull up a loop. Now wrap the yarn around and pull through fast 2 loops only. So I've got 5 loops in my crochet hook at that point. So that means it's time to start doing my time to finish off my uh, cluster stitch. So I've wrapped the yarn around and now I'm going to pull it through all 5 loops. Okay, and then wrap the yarn around and pull through. That's my chain space, and that is my first cluster done. Okay, now I'm going to repeat the same process, same steps, and start crocheting cluster stitches all the way to here. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next tiny space. Can you all see it? There's no other space of this type, so you can't really miss it. Yes, so I have to do my second cluster stitch here. I'm going to wrap the yarn around the crochet hook, go to the same, go to the next chain space, wrap the yarn around and pull up a loop. Okay, wrap the yarn around and pull through only first 2 loops. So I've got 2 loops in my crochet hook, wrap the yarn around, go to the same chain space, wrap the yarn around and pull up a loop, wrap the yarn around and pull through just 2 loops. So I've got 3 loops in my crochet hook. Okay, so I just have to repeat these steps for a few more times. Wrap the yarn around, go to the same chain space, wrap the yarn around and pull up a loop, wrap the yarn around and pull through first 4 loops in my crochet hook. So one more time, wrap the yarn around, go to the same chain space, wrap the yarn around and pull up a loop, wrap the yarn around, pull through first 2 only. So I've got 5 loops in my crochet hook. Time to finish off this cluster. Wrap the yarn around, pull through all 5 loops and chain 1. That's my second cluster of this row done. Now it's time to move to the next cluster stitch, next chain space here. Okay, so right after this one there's no other chain spaces of this type, this kind, so it's very evident that I have to start my next cluster stitch here. Okay, so I'm going to wrap the yarn around my crochet hook, go to that chain space, wrap the yarn around and pull up a loop, wrap the yarn around and pull through only first 2. Yeah, so I've got 2 loops in my crochet hook. So wrap the yarn around, go to the same space, wrap the yarn around and pull up a loop, wrap the yarn around and pull through only first 2 loops. That means I've got 3 loops in my crochet hook. Yeah, next I have to wrap the yarn around the crochet hook again, go to the same chain space, wrap the yarn around and pull up a loop, wrap the yarn around and pull through only first 2 loops. I've got 4 loops in my crochet hook. Okay, wrap the yarn around, go to the same chain space, wrap the yarn around and pull up a loop and wrap the yarn around and pull through only first 2 loops. Now I've got 5 loops in my crochet hook. That means it's time to finish off this cluster. Wrap the yarn around and pull through all 5 loops. Okay, and chain 1 to finish off the cluster. So that was my third cluster stitch. Just going to give it a few seconds, then I'll start with cluster 4. Okay, I don't want to move too fast and then you all find it difficult to catch up. And while I'm waiting, I'm just going to have some water. I'm so thirsty today. Don't know why. Maybe it's just the weather. It's very dry and hot in our end. How is the weather at your end today? I think most of UK is, most of England is like this, sunny today. Not sure, but our weather is quite nice, 16-17 degree. But it's making me feel very thirsty. I don't know why. So that's my third cluster done. I'm just going to go ahead and crochet. How many I have to do? 6 more clusters to finish off this row, because we are doing 9 clusters in each row. Yeah. So wrap the yarn around the crochet hook, find the next space, tiny little space created by the chain 1 space from your previous row. So just go there, put your crochet hook through the chain space, wrap the yarn around and pull up a loop. wrap the yarn around and pull through only fast 2. So you've got 2 loops in your crochet hook, wrap the yarn around, go to the same chain space again, wrap the yarn around and pull up a loop. Wrap the yarn around and pull through only fast 2 loops. So we've got 3 loops in your crochet hook, wrap the yarn around, go to the same chain space, wrap the yarn around and pull up a loop, wrap the yarn around and pull through only fast 2 loops. Okay, that means I've got 4 loops in my crochet hook. I'm going to repeat these steps for one last time. Wrap the yarn around, go to the same chain space, wrap the yarn around and pull up a loop, wrap the yarn around and pull through only fast 2 loops. Now I've got 5 loops in my crochet hook, wrap the yarn around and pull through all 5 loops. Okay, and then chain 1, wrap the yarn around and pull through. That's my chain 1 space. And I've just finished doing my 4th cluster stitch for this row. I'm just going to go ahead and repeat these steps for 5 more times. Okay, so this is my 5th cluster. 4 more to go. Seventh cluster. This is my 8th cluster. Now I'm just going to do the last cluster of this row. Okay, so this for the second row it can be a bit tricky to find the very last chain space here. Just if you can't find it, just put your crochet hook through the 3rd chain space. This is the first 3 chain spaces of row 1. So just put your crochet hook through any of the chain spaces there and carry on doing your stitches steps for cluster stitch. Okay, wow, amazing, mashallah. Sister Aisha Rasid has just joined me. Thank you, Sister Aisha. Thank you for joining me. It looks easy, but I know it's hard to do. No, Sister Aisha, it is actually very easy to do if you get the hang of it. I explain really slowly, so I'm sure it will be very easy for you. like it is for my other students. At first it might feel a bit, they might struggle a bit, but then everybody gets it. All the group members who are present here, they are all doing it. So I'm sure you will find it easy too if you give it a go. But thank you so much for joining me. This is my beginner's crochet lesson, and today we are making cluster stitch, and we are trying to make a mobile phone pouch like this using this cluster stitch technique. I'm going to wait for all the group members to finish off their row, and then I'm going to show you how to crochet row 3, how to start your row 3. So please leave a comment in the comment section, finish your row 2. Yeah, just going to wait here for a few more minutes.